Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture. Today we're doing something new. We're in a studio and we have studio guests. Welcome the Feminist Book Club. Woo! Okay, so today we're here to talk about Women's Day campaigns, Women's Month campaigns, and kind of just like, oh gosh, why every time you hear the word it's like, oh, I want to sigh or I want to roll my eyes because, you know, some words are going to be overused like woman empowerment. You go, girl. Like, you know, it's just kind of like cringing. So we kind of just brought everyone together to be like, guys, let's talk about it. We're tired. How are we going to make this better? Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So first question I'm going to throw out there is, what are the 3 words that just come to mind when I say Women's Day?
I'd think of like emoji, eye roll. Don't even have words.
Why don't you treat me special all the time?
I think appreciation, roses, and pink.
Mine is like, I think, I know it's not a word, but I think that. And really only one day. That's what I think in that term.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you not necessarily feel like, I mean, I probably get the same kind of like, here we go again. But then surely we deserve this time. Because if not the whole year, something, do you know what I mean? And I think, obviously we know what the day stands for and we know what it means to women and the country, etc. But surely they do those things because they want us to have some kind of celebration where it's not about everybody else, but just us.
I think the idea of Women's Day as a concept is fine. I think that's a good thing. I feel like it is lovely to have one day of the year where women are celebrated and appreciated. But I think it's the way it's executed that becomes very problematic for me. It just makes me not take it seriously. I've never acknowledged a Women's Day. I haven't done anything special for myself. I've never treated myself more right than usual on a Women's Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also think it's about follow through. So like everyone has these intense campaigns, which is all great for the month of August. And then what happens after that, we just forget about it.
It's also really strange to me that the primary focus around Women's Day was to commemorate what women did in the 1950s, walking to the union buildings to get women's rights, and that feminist issues are still such a hot topic that the idea that we focus an entire month looking at very serious women's issues, that women are still at the lowest rung in terms of healthcare, they're still the lowest rung in terms of earning a good living wage. Those kinds of issues are really, really important, but in terms of like the marketing of Women's Day, that's kind of been, you know, been usurped by these pink, fluffy, 5K, masseuse, you know, I think it devalues the central core issues that we really need to be focusing
on. It kind
on.
of focuses on the pampering aspect of it as opposed to the issues.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it goes into, here your pads are cheaper, here's a nice spa treatment like you were saying, which is lovely. I love those things. I love going to the spa, I love treating myself, I love putting on makeup, I love all of those things. But for an entire month, when you see it being advertised in this way, where it is focusing on the pampering aspect as opposed to feminist issues and how to move forward beyond the month in terms of addressing some of these feminist issues.
Talking about feminism and femininity, how do you guys, what do you guys think of kind of the resurgence and the force that feminism collectives or groups or movements are coming at either media, print media, television, talks like this? You know, it's kind of just, okay, you thought I was gonna be nice. I actually want you to sit down and listen to what I have to say to you. You know, because I think sometimes with what we were mentioning, we think, oh, ladies are so soft. And now there is more of, I don't want to say forceful approach, but it's stronger. The voices are getting louder, and the movement it's starting to. Do you know what I'm saying? So, what's your take on that?
I think it's great, and I think we need more of it, and I think it speaks to a diversity of women, and it's really important because I think, touching on Suks's point, it's about being real. It's not about being this idea of what a woman is. We're people, and people are diverse, they're different, and what's great about that is to celebrate that diversity. Also, I think when it comes to something like feminism, it's also, the onus is on us, I think, as younger generations to start bridging the gaps and start talking and having open conversations about what it means to be a woman. What does it mean to be a woman in South Africa? What are our definitions about it? Where are our gripes? And how do we form a sisterhood in a broad term? And I think that's really, really important.
But the idea is not a new idea, right?
No.
I mean, women's collectives have been existing for a millennia. If you think about any of your mothers, the kinds of groups of friends that they have, their sisters, the Stokvels, but I think the popularity around it with social media and popular culture now, that we're seeing women like the Foxy Five, like the Feminist Stokvel, who are producing collectives and talks and really forming these spaces where women feel like they can come together in all of their complexity, in all of their nuance, and go, well, yeah, my voice is counted here, and I think that's really fantastic.
We shouldn't dismiss men either, and I think that we need to bring them into the conversation as well.
But then how? Because more times than not, no, I want to add whatever she's going to say. I'd like her. No. Whatever you're going to say, I wanted to also add the thought that I have, because on Twitter recently, people had issues in terms of having men join the conversation, because it's time to celebrate, people are tired of patriarchy, this patriarchy must fall, and that's the conversation. But at the same time, on the one end of the conversation, we talk about problematic men, whether you're in entertainment, whether you are, wherever you are, but we're problematizing men. So how do we bring them in the conversation without either, I don't want to say victimizing them, but without putting them on some kind of, I don't want to say it's a pedestal of sorts, but how do we make them involved in the conversation? Is it necessary?
I think it is completely necessary, and I feel particularly passionate and kind of fiery about this at the moment. I think that men need to be educated, because, to be honest, they just, and I'm not, this is probably generalizing, but for the vast majority of men in South Africa, just don't have a clue. For example, if I take sexual harassment on a daily basis. From the age of 11, the minute you start to grow boobs, you have to start acclimatizing and rethinking about things in your head, because you know that you can't walk down the street because someone has to say something, or you can't even go to the spa to buy a bottle of wine or whatever because somebody's going to comment on something. So, and men have they just don't know. They think that you're lying or you're talking rubbish when you say, dude, I can't walk anywhere for one day. It's not a compliment. And I think men just don't have a clue, because if there is a man with you, then most men won't say anything. And I think men don't understand, because they don't have to think about what they're going to wear that day. They don't have to make those kind of decisions based on the reactions that they're going to get. It takes up so much space in our head. No wonder we're a little bit behind with like finding the cure to AIDS or whatever it is, because we're busy thinking about people commenting on what we're wearing or saying, hey, sexy tits or whatever it is, and having to be grateful for that. You know,
I think Caitlin Morgan makes a really, really amazing point. She talks about like men and women, and she says that the difference between men and women is that men, because of patriarchy, can exist in the world without questioning it. And I think you make a valid point. Like as a woman in the workforce or wherever it may be, it's like often there is a lot of emphasis put on representation. How am I going to be read? Is this appropriate? You know, should I be wearing this? And I think that's the difference. And the way in which we bring men into the conversation is to have real conversations. It's not about being antagonistic. It's not about being accusatory. It's not about blaming and having like a victim mentality. It's about just being real.
Yeah, the education aspect of it, I think, is so important, because if we're just having these discussions with ourselves, then that's great. We know that we're complex. We know that things need to change. That's, you know,
it's there.
But it's the men need to be brought into the conversation so that there is, like Bianca is saying, educating.
But when they come to the conversation, can they actually listen? I think people want to be brought into a conversation, but they want to tell you what you think about what the thing that you're telling them about. And if that's going to be the conversation, then I'm really not interested, and I don't think we're going to get very far if that's going to happen. And I think sometimes that men need to have a conversation with each other about how they protect each other in perpetuating the kinds of things that they say to women, about women, how they go around raping women and then protect each other and not call each other out and keep giving each other business. and keep putting each other in the show and keep doing these while women are having to constantly, I mean, this thing with women having to settle out of court, and they sit with the shame, they sit with the story on their back, where the guy just carries on with his life like nothing ever happened. And we still pump their music, we still watch their films, we still hire them on shows, and nothing ever happens. But the woman has always got the scarlet letter on her that this thing happened to her, and it never went to court, so she must have been lying.
True. But I also think that there definitely is some kind of worth in terms of having the conversation with young boys. Because I think by the time we're having it with the older generation, there is some level of like, I know better. And the conversation, I do think needs to start from a younger base and growing it from there. Because I've often found that like my friends, the way they behave has been because when I was younger, I saw my uncle. When I was younger, I saw my dad. And changing how, you know, as men, how they behave in front of young boys. So I think that there is some kind of worth there. So, yeah.
You know what? I completely understand what you're saying in terms of having somebody that you look up to or somebody that you've learned behavior from. But for me, when it comes to things like physical violence, I can understand if somebody says, yes, but I saw my dad beat my mom. But I feel like you're not giving yourself agency. You know that that's wrong. There is never an excuse for that kind of behavior. You can't tell me that just because you saw your dad hit your mom, that's okay. It's not, you know, it may be what you grew up with, but you're not giving yourself any kind of sense of agency or responsibility in that. You know, so I feel like that can only go so far.
True.
Ladies, it's been lovely.
Because I know a lot of people are going to be like, this feels like it should have continued. Again, like we always do with our shows, the conversation can't stop on film. There is social media, there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's everywhere. So if you do have comments to add, we can definitely join the conversation. We are all on social media. So if there are stuff that you want to expand on what we were talking about, comment section, type, tweet, Facebook. We can shoot here till tomorrow, but like, you know, we have to join, you guys have to join the conversation at some point. Watch, like, comment, share, you know what you have to do. But spread the news, subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.